Do you ever wish that you could understand movies in English? You probably know that it's a fun way to practice your English, to understand real life conversations, and a lot of students really enjoy watching movies in English. But at the same time, there's like this frustration because it's hard to understand the movie without having the subtitles. Well, today we're gonna dive deep into one of my favorite movies. It's a great movie for entrepreneurs as well, and help you understand some real life English. Let's go. Hi, I'm your English coach, Christina, and welcome to Business English with Christina, where you become better at English and better at business, and today, better at understanding fast, spoken English in movies. So, what's the movie that we're going to look at today? It's called The Pursuit of Happiness, and it stars Will Smith. And it's a biographical movie that's based on the life of a guy named Chris Gardner. And Chris Gardner was a homeless salesman, so you can imagine it's going to be an inspiring story. And in the movie, Will Smith's son plays the son of his character, which is kind of neat. Now, the reason that I picked this movie for this episode was because I find that it's just a very inspiring story for anyone who is, an entrepreneur, maybe struggling with some things like being successful at work. I think we can all relate to those difficult moments, but also because it was listed as one of the 7 movies on Netflix that entrepreneurs should watch. And you can find a link to that article with other movies down in the notes below this video. All right, so let's really dig into these extracts from the movie now. Now, first of all, the thing to know is that it's normal if you find that it's difficult to understand movies in English. The reason for that is you probably learned a lot of written English or reading English at school, but the thing is that the English that you hear in the real world is not like the English that you see on paper or on a screen. So it helps to know, sort of like what's happening in spoken language. And the first thing that you might notice is that we don't always pronounce the letter T in spoken English. So watch this clip and see if you can catch all the places where you might see a T written, but you definitely don't really hear it in the spoken English.
Hey, you know what today is?
Yeah,
What?
Saturday.
You know what Saturday is, right?
Yeah,
What?
basketball.
All right, so let's break that down and let's look at how those T's disappeared or suddenly magically transformed into D sounds. And let's see if you can actually count the missing T's. All right, ready? Here we go. Hey, you know what today is? Yeah, what? Saturday. You know what Saturday is, right? Yeah? What? Basketball. Did you catch how many T's disappeared or changed as I was saying those words? Saying those words very slowly, but I really wanted to emphasize the place where the T disappeared or became a D. So do you have that number in your head? See if you got it right. Go over to the blog. I've put a little quiz over there. It's something new that we're trying. But there's a little quiz to see if you got that number right. So the notes for the blog post is down below the video. Okay, another thing that makes spoken English kind of hard to understand, it's all these words that we kind of like eat.
You want to go play some basketball?
Okay.
All right, then we're going to go sell a bone density scanner. How about that? You want to do that?
No.
You want to go play some basketball. Okay. All right, then we're going to go sell a bone density scanner. How about that? Want to do that? No. Okay, so in this clip, you had the T's that disappeared, plus a lot of words that got eaten, like wanna, gonna, and bout for about. Oh, and by the way, the bone density scanner, not something that you'll use in everyday language, unless maybe you work in the medical industry. You know, in your business, you've ever had to sell your products or your services to clients, you know that like in normal conditions, that can be a pretty hard job, which is why I find that it's pretty incredible to see how Chris Gardner did that job of salesman while being homeless for 1 year. And this, like I said, I find this story very inspirational, and I hope that this video will go and inspire you to go and watch the movie. You know, first of all, to see the story, and then also you'll be able to recognize the things that you learned in this video. All right, now we're going to look at a part of the movie where Chris Gardner is sharing some, let's say, inspiring life lessons with his son. And I want you to notice something interesting here. It's that we tend to speak less formally with people who are close to us. And I mean, this is probably the same in your language also. So in the clip, Gardner's playing basketball with his son, and his son tells his father that he wants to go pro, which means to become a professional basketball player. But Gardner tells him, you know, be careful about that dream.
Hey, Dad, I'm going pro. I'm going pro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. You know, you'll probably be about as good as I was. That's kind of the way it works, you know, and I was below average. You know, so you'll probably ultimately rank somewhere around there, you know, so you'll excel at a lot of things, just not this. I don't want you out here shooting this ball around all day and night, all right?
All right.
Okay? All right, go ahead.
Now, you may have noticed that he used some quite advanced vocabulary with his son, like you'll ultimately be about as good as I was, or you'll excel at a lot of things, just not this. And these are maybe words that a parent might use with a child if they're, you know, giving them some important lesson or helping them to grow up and to become, you know, a better speaker, to sound well educated when they're speaking their language. And also Gardner's reminding his son that yes, it's good to dream, but be careful of disappointment too. But notice that in his speech to his son, not everything is totally formal, because that would just be a little weird talking to your kid in very formal language. So he keeps a lot of informal elements as well to create that sense of closeness. So watch this clip and see if you can catch maybe some of those contractions or those words that are eaten, like wanna and gonna.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
So listening for the ways that we make the language less formal and how we build rapport, it's a great way to understand real life English, but also to speak real life English and to create that connection with other people. And if you want to practice this a little more, go over to the blog and check out the free quiz and the answers that I've made to go with this video. And you'll be able to see the difference between the English that you hear versus the English that you read. If you don't use it, you lose it. So here's a way that you can also practice your English. In the comments over on the blog or down below this video, tell me about a movie that has inspired your life. Now, it can be a movie about business, it can be a movie about life in general. a biography, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if it inspired you, please share it with us in the comments because I'm looking for some new movies to watch, and I like to watch movies that inspire me. And if this lesson was helpful for you, there are 3 ways that you can tell me. Give this lesson a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue making business English lessons for you. Go over to the blog post to do that quiz and sign up for my newsletter while you're there. And go ahead and watch this next lesson all about understanding native speakers through a TED Talk on time management. All right, and thanks as always for improving your English and improving yourself with Business English with Christina, and I'll see you next time.